What's up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new updated Shaddoll Rank 10 Train deck profile. You guys have been seeing this deck pop up in a couple duels lately, and I've seen some of you guys been asking for the updated profile, so I am here to bring you guys that. Now, the last time we did a profile for this was in November of 2016, and a lot has changed since then, especially with us getting all that new support in the Legendary Duelist Stitches of the Rose set. And this deck, in my opinion, has become leaps and bounds better than it has in the past. The deck has changed quite a bit in how it plays. For me, this is now more of a going second deck because of this card and some of the other cards in the main deck that we'll get to. But yeah, also real quick before we go ahead and get started, shout out to our sponsor at Imperium Duelist for providing some really cool sleeves here. I got these green parallel effect sleeves here on the main deck, and these dot sleeves on the extra deck that are sort of double sleeved up, and this beautiful playmat here that I've been using a lot lately is the Tour Guide playmat. If you want to check stuff out like that from their website, mats, sleeves, dice, things of that nature, check them out in the description below and use that code for 10% off. So we'll go ahead and get started with the main deck. And we have to start Double Night Express Night. This was a card we used to play at 3 back in the day. It was really necessary, but now we have a lot of other cards that we have to work with. And this card, I think, is a 2 of, only because it's only really good when you have in your hand already a combo piece for it, whether it be Derek Crane or Bullet Express Train. Otherwise, this card doesn't really do a whole lot. And it is a good card to have, but just when it's paired with something, so I think that's why playing at 2 is a good way to go. Triple Derek Crane, of course. This card is a staple in this deck at 3. When an Earth Machine is normal or special summon, so that could be like Shaq, it could be a Link monster like Clifford Genius, Mrs. Radiant, or not Mrs. Radiant, but any Earth Machine really. That anytime it gets normal or special summon, you get to summon this from hand, and then when it's detached, you can destroy a card on your opponent's side of the field, which is really, really good. You can use it to disrupt your opponent's plays, clear their field for going second. Things of that nature. Card is really, really good, really, really important. Then we have the 3 Super Express Bullet Train, a new card from that Legendary Duelist set. Basically, it cannot attack unless you send 2 cards you control to the graveyard. That effect doesn't really come up too much, especially you can just negate it with Clifford Genius and one other thing on their side of the field. And then it says, if all monsters you control are Earth monsters, minimum 1 you can special this card from your hand, and then during the end phase of this card in the graveyard, because it was sent there this turn, you can target a machine monster in your graveyard and add it back to your hand except itself. So not only does it recur stuff from your grave back to your hand during the end phase, much like Ruffy Railcar does, so now we have 2 cards that recur resources, but it can also just summon itself to the field to help make rank 10 plays or link plays. Just a very, very good card all around. Definitely a 3 of. Then we have 3 Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede. This card is sort of like an Altair for this deck. It basically, if it's normal special summon, you can target Earth Machine monster in your graveyard except itself, and special summon in defense position, but negate its effects. And you can also target another monster you control, and the level of that monster or this card becomes the level of the other monster. So you can basically normal this, revive this out of grave, and then use it to target this card and make their levels both level 10, and then you can go right into a rank 10 monster. Super, super helpful. But the turn you activate the fact, you can only declare attacks with Xyz monsters, which you're going to be doing anyways, so that's not really too big of a hindrance to begin with. So 3 Railroad Stampede. Then we have 2 Ruffy Railcar. Again, this card used to be a 3 of back in the day, but I'd see it as a 2 of now because its only real good use is to be either discarded off of the field spell, sent to the graveyard via Shaddoll Fusion, or you can normal summon it to burn your opponent for game for that extra 500 damage. But overall, I think this card is a good 2 of and should stay that way for the time being. Then we have the Shaddoll Engine, because of course this is Shaddoll Trains, and we're playing 1 Hedgehog, 1 Squamata, 1 Dragon, and 1 Shaddoll Beast. I think playing these 4 is fine. My older build that I had was playing, back before we had all the new support and stuff, was playing a much bigger Shaddoll Engine. It was like 2 Beasts, 2 Squamata, 2 Hedgehog, a Dragon, and a Falco. Obviously, the Shaddoll Engine has shrunk down quite a bit because it just doesn't need to have that big of a presence anymore because we have a lot of other cards for the deck to work with. So I think just these 4 Shaddolls is fine. I really like playing Squamata. I know some builds don't play Squamata, but I think Squamata works well just overall. And then we have 2 Jizukiru the Star Destroying Kaiju. So Bold Express Train can add this card back because it is a machine monster, so after you clear something on your opponent's field with it and maybe get rid of it via Derek Crane or Battle, you can just add this card back during the end phase to clear a possible another problem card. Really, really good card to have. Solid. You could probably play it at 2 or 3, especially with you know, Slumber coming back to 3. You could probably also play a bigger Kaiju Engine in the main deck, like I was anticipating, but I think it's a better side deck option going forward, because I think maining all those Kaijus and stuff in the main deck isn't gonna like work too well. I think you would just rather off just playing the double Jizukiru and just playing it that way. But yeah, like I said, I think just playing the extra Kaiju stuff would just be better for a side deck option, like I've been playing on stream on YGO Pro. And then lastly, the last monster we have is Exodia's the Ultimate Forbidden Lord. It's just a level 10 that you can summon in the field by shuffling all monsters you have in your graveyard back into the deck, so that recycles all your resources and it gives you a level 10, which is nice. I used to play this card back in the old build, and it's still being played now, which is nice to see because it is a really good card. Helps recycle your Shaddoll Engine and some of your Train Engine. It's a very, very helpful card to have going forward. Then we have 3 Revolving Switchyard, or the Rotonde Ferroviaire. Basically, it's like your main searcher. It helps you gain advantage pretty much every turn. You can discard a card to add a level 10 Earth Machine from deck to hand. And then if a level 10 Earth Machine monster is normal special summon, you can basically summon a level 4 monster with like 1800 attack from your deck. So basically Railcar or Stampede. And then its level becomes 10, but your opponent takes no battle damage the turn you do that. Which is fine because you can still attack and clear things, but in some cases, if your hand isn't that great and you only have like Night Express Knight to work with, you can use that other effect, but in most cases you're just going to be using the discard effect to go ahead and get searches, essentially. So that's it for that. Then we have 3 Urgent Schedule. Another new card here. Basically, if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower and 1 level 5 or higher Earth Machine monster from your deck in defense position. Their effects are negated, and you cannot attack the turn you activate this card except with machine monsters. Again, that's a restriction that really doesn't apply too much to us because that's all we're really going to be summoning is machine monsters. And basically, if this set card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add a level 10 Earth Machine monster from your deck to your hand. So if they clear this via Twin Twister, Nightmare Phoenix, or MST, or whatever it might be, you do get a free search out of it, which is pretty nice. But a lot of times you're just going to be using it to summon out the Railcar and the Bullet Express Train to link with, and then you got yourself already going forward 2 searches in the end phase, which is super, super helpful. So 3 Urgent Schedule I think is really, really strong. Triple Shaddoll Fusion might as well be Foolish Burial on crack. That gets you like level 10 Earth Machine on your field to make plays with or negate things possibly. Just a very, very awesome card. I think playing 3 is fine because you can definitely resolve this card multiple times in a game. I highly recommend you guys checking out the Shaddoll Trains versus Photon Galaxy matchup I posted a couple days ago. Really, really great matchup between these 2 decks. I highly recommend you guys checking it out. It was a really grindy game and honestly could have went both ways, the other way essentially. Highly recommend you guys checking it out. It was a great match. I'll leave that annotated at the end, or a card you can click on the screen. Next we have Triple Call by the Grave. This card is in a weird spot right now for me. I think because this deck is a going second deck, you should probably play Called By, but with like Witch's Strike running around soon, you know, coming out in Savage Strike, I think like maybe Called By the Grave might fall out of favor because hand traps in general might fall out of favor, because if you get Witch's Strike or something, you pretty much just lose the game. I mean, you lose everything in your field and your hand. I don't know. The future of this card is going to be a little weird with Witch's Strike coming out. I'm not sure how hand traps and Called By will be played in the future, but for now, I think Triple Called By is a safe bet. Next, we have Double Instant Fusion. Basically, just want to see this card for removal, because we are playing Thousand Eyes Restrict, and we're also playing Shaddoll Winda. So even if you draw into another one later on, you can still put a Winda on board to possibly link with, fuse with, giving you a Shaddoll monster, what have you. So I wanted to play 2 targets for 2 Instant Fusions just in case you do see another one late game. Double Terraforming, of course, to see that field spell, very, very important. 1 Raigeki and 1 Dark Hole, and 1 Monster Reborn for the last spells. Board clearing is super, super important, but again, I just felt like playing the Kaiju Slumber in here, even now that it's at 3, like, I feel like just Dark Hole and Raigeki are just better options in my opinion than playing the Slumbers. Like I said, they're probably a better side deck in my opinion. And then we have, last but not least, one skill drain, but I want to mention one other card that I was playing until I cut it for Dark Hole, is this Barrage Blast card. I'm considering also siding this because going first, this card is like a Fire Lake. You basically detach any number of materials from an machine Xyz monster you control, then target that many cards on the field and destroy them. So like if you detach like a Derek Crane and something else, you can destroy 3 cards, and that can just be like huge disruption for your opponent if you do have to go first. So I do like this card. I do have a playset of these, and I was, like I said, playing one in place of Dark Hole. So if you want to play this, you could probably just cut the Dark Hole for it, or maybe their Monster Reborn or whatever. But I think this card is really good, and some builds don't play it, but I think this card could have a lot of potential, and I might play it myself again in the future. And it has a graveyard effect too, which you can also get to the grave via your field spell, which is nice. Basically it says if a machine Xyz monster you control is destroyed by battle or opponent's card effect while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card, and one machine Xyz monster from your graveyard inflict damage to your opponent equal to the banished monster's rank times 200. So most of the monsters are rank 10, so you just burn for 2,000. In some cases that could be game in of itself. So yeah, skill drain lastly. But I just wanted to mention Barrage Blast real quick because I think it is an honorable mention going forward, and definitely a viable option for those that were wondering. Now we'll go into the extra deck, and to start we have 2 Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Juggernaut Lieb. Yeah, it's a pretty long name. Basically two level 11 monsters, but that's not how we're going to be summoning this. You can just basically Xyz change it over any rank 10 Xyz monster that you have, or rank 10 machine Xyz monster you control, and then the materials get transferred, obviously. And then it says once per turn you can attach a material from this card. It gains 2,000 attack and defense, and also the rest of the turn you can only declare an attack with this card. And then it says during each battle phase, this card can make attacks on monsters up to the number of Xyz material it has +1. So you can either attack directly for 6,000. And by the way, that attack gain is permanent, so if it lives another turn, it can go up to 8,000 possibly, which is just insane. It can either, so like I said, it can either attack directly for 6, or it can attack usually 2 monsters at 6k apiece, which is just sheer damage. This card just goes absolutely hard for damage. I think playing 2 is fine because I think 1 is just not enough. I want to be able to play the grind game a little more, so I think having 2 is fine, and there's definitely extra deck space. And to be honest, there's a lot of room with the extra deck I feel like you could mess around with. I know I said there's not a lot, but like there also is at the same time. You could run the extra deck like a little bit different, and I'll explain later. And then we run 2 number 81. This is like a going first alternative when going for basically turbo game is not viable, because sometimes it isn't always viable and you need to wall up with this thing. But this card in of itself is just really nice because during either player's turn you can detach a material from this card, then target one face-up monster on the field. That target is unaffected by card effects except for its own effects until the end of the turn. So like this, you just sit on this 4,000 defense, they're going to have a really hard time getting over this, and anytime they try to deal with it, you can just make it unaffected by card effects, and then it's just like, well, what do you do now? And then you pretty much get yourself an additional turn. The next we have 2 Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Gustav Max. Basically detach material from this card and inflict 2,000 damage to your opponent. And also it's important to remember that since this is burn damage, the turn you use that other effect of the field spell, you can still use this effect since it's not battle damage. So if you are in a rough spot, and you just have like you know, a Night Express Knight, you can just get out a Pegasus or Ruffy Railcar and go into this really quickly and just finish them off for that 2k damage at the very end. But a lot of the times you're going into this, burning for 2,000, and then slapping this on top of it and detaching again, and attacking, or attacking directly for 6,000. And 6,000 plus 2,000 is 8,000, which is game. Which is also why I stopped playing Upstart, because I used to play Upstart in here. And then this is the one, I'm playing 1 Spider. Now look, you could play the whole Spider package. I don't have it right now, and you could probably cut this to 1, you probably could cut this to 1, and then play the Pain Gainer and the number 77. But like I said, I just don't have those cards, so I'm just playing this. This is a nice alternative just because it's a generic rank 10, and you can use it to clear the field a lot, and you can just wall up with it. It's not too bad on its own. And the only thing I think I would cut this going forward is for a Mrs. Radiant, which I'm not currently playing, but a Mrs. Radiant is a perfectly viable option. The only reason I'm not playing it because there's just other cards you can play in the deck, and some of those cards are like Summon Sorceress, Clifford Genius, which is just fantastic in here, and Lampharinkus is another one. Same thing with Link Karibo. All these cards are really great in here. Summon Sorceress comes up sometimes. I might cut this card because I feel like it's just a little too situational. You really have to go out of your way to get into this card, in my opinion. Clifford Genius, in my opinion, is the best Link monster in the deck because it combos so well with Urgent Schedule and Bold Express Train, because you can use it to target Bold Express and another card on your opponent's side of the field, negate them, and now Bold Express can attack without having to send 2 cards to the grave. And like I said, with the Urgent Schedule, you can summon 2 things to the zone it points to, and you get to search a level 5 or higher machine monster from your deck to your hand. So that's a lot of stuff in your deck. You can even search Jizakira with that if you needed to. Lampharinkus comes up for when you just don't have 2 machine monsters. So Lampharinkus does come up, or after you exhausted your Clifford Genius, you want to be able to go into a Link 2, you can. And then 1 Link Karibo because we're playing the Thousand Eyes. So yeah, that's it for the Link monsters. Now we'll go into the fusions, which we have 1 Thousand Eyes Restrict, 1 Shaddoll Winda, and 2 El Shaddoll Shekanagas. You could play 3 Shek and no Winda, but I think having Winda is okay because going first, this is just a stun option they might not expect, and it could just outright win you the game from there. I know Construct is legal, but like Construct doesn't really fit into the game plan. Construct, people think that Construct is like the end-all be-all sometimes, and sometimes, like in some cases, with the current game plan of the deck, like Construct would just be like useless going into it in any other position. Yeah, you can use it to send like Jizakira to the graveyard to possibly add back later, but I think you don't have to play Construct in here. I don't think it's needed. Sure, you could play Construct, but like most of the cases, if you're playing Shaddoll Fusion, you're gonna go for this card. You're not gonna go for Shek. You're probably not gonna go for Winda. You're not gonna go for Construct or Winda, but you're gonna go for Shek because this helps you actually play your deck. So that's it for the extra deck, and that is it for the main deck. So that is Shaddoll Trains here in 2019. Almost like 2.5 years since the last profile. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, hit that like button, be greatly appreciated. Make sure you're subscribed, but yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below, and don't forget to check out Imperium Duelist also. And yeah, like I said, real quick, the Slumber Engine is something I always consider siding. I just want to mention that because I don't want people to think I forgot about that. I know it's at 3 now, but this is something I think would just be better off in the side deck going forward. But yeah, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, as always, WinnerKill signing out. We'll see you in the next one.